the world is changing. If you look at the demographic map, you look at the global north, it is what we call top-heavy. So the aging population is much more than the youthful population, because back here in the global south, it's bottom-heavy, right? Yeah. So you also have that demographic reality, where if you look at the world of the future, majority of the people will come from the global south, and Africa is a critical part of the global south. Yeah.
Welcome to Gender Equality and Human Rights Podcast. I am Rachael Mwikali, the Executive Director, Coalition for Grassroots Human Rights Defenders, Kenya, and I sit in the Youth Advisory Board for the Royal Danish Embassy in Nairobi and the Global Board for the Minister of Development Cooperation in Denmark. Today is exciting. I'm joined by Joe Kimani, who will introduce himself and his title. The exciting point about this podcast is about the Youth Sounding Board for the Royal Danish Embassy and how we operate and how we work. Welcome, Kimani.
Thank you very much for hosting me today. It's a pleasure to do this with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Could you please introduce yourself, say what you do?
So, as you've already mentioned, my name is Joe Kimani. I have the privilege of serving as the Program Manager for Democratic Governance at the Royal Danish Embassy in Nairobi. And I also have the added responsibility of coordinating the activities of our Youth Sounding Board, where you're also a member.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm so excited to do this podcast with you.
Good.
Could you please tell us how did you come up with the Youth Sounding Board, from both the global one to the local within the embassy in Africa?
So the Youth Sounding Board was an initiative of the then Development Cooperation Minister for Denmark. And he was very, very keen to ensure that Denmark involves young people in the design of its programs. As you may know, Denmark has a fairly decent footprint in a number of countries, where Denmark cooperates with countries in terms of their priorities, because there are certain shared values that are there. So the minister assessed that to enhance that, it would be important to have the voice of young people captured much, much more. So that is the idea behind it. So he gave us the advice that, hey, look, if you have some development programs, then why don't you then consider having a Youth Sounding Board? So that's why we have one that is based here in Kenya, and then there's one which you sit in, where now your job is then to advise the minister. So that's the genesis of it all. But even as he did so, it was not something that was unexpected. We had been involving young people in our work. It was just good to have this now as a format that we could then use to engage young people. And so far, so good. We are glad that the minister made that decision.
Yeah. So I know also, like, being part of the board, one of the exciting things I see within the board is the expertise of young people. Yeah. Why choose, most of the boards, people would be like, want to go to only educated youth or not the ones in the mashinani. Why did the embassy decide to be intentional and bringing the face of Kenya in the boards? Actually,
the last point you've made there, face of Kenya. Because Denmark works across the programs, Denmark's programs are across the country. So, of course, whatever we put together has to mirror that reality. The second thing is that our work here in Kenya is human rights based. Now, when you talk about human rights, you talk about inclusion. You cannot talk about inclusion if you only limit yourself to populations that are based in the urban areas. You have to then say, look, who is there? And therefore embrace all those people that are there. Then the third point is that when you put diverse people together, then you avail different experiences. And that's precisely what you're looking for. When you're designing our programs, when you are seeking advice, if you seek advice only from a certain group of people, then you limit yourself. So for us, the logic is clear. Talk to as many people as possible so that you can be able to benefit from that particular perspective. And maybe something else I can add, the diversity is not just geographical. It's also age-wise, where we have done our best to bring in young people that cut across, the ages from 35 and below, so that also within those demographics, we are able then to capture different perspectives. Yeah.
Kim, you're one person. I call you Kim, I call you a mentor, I call you a teacher, a comrade, a friend. Why are you passionate about youth?
And first of all, I also call you the same. So it's really one of my best friends, and it's a friendship that has grown from this work
Yeah.
that we have been doing.
Yeah.
I remember I was introduced to you when we were looking then for Youth Sounding Board members. We had not interacted before then.
Yes, no, yeah.
You say,
Yeah.
so this friendship has grown over those years. Actually, it's based on my own background. It's based on my own background. I trace my professional journey to youth activism, which I started when I was in high school and went on university and beyond that. So I've walked the journey of youth activism for many, many years. I'm obviously not young anymore. I don't, at least constitutionally I'm not.
Youth at heart.
But youth at heart. So that one from my own background, it's something that I'm able to fully identify with the struggles that youth go through when they want to assert themselves in social spaces, in political spaces, in economic spaces. So I fully identify with that. And I am then fortunate that I work for an embassy that also shares the same focus and the same values. So at a personal level, I also am very clear in my mind that we cannot develop any place. We cannot develop Kenya, we cannot develop Africa, we cannot develop the world if we do not have young people at the center of that. I always say this, that it is the young people that must be most concerned about what is happening today.
Yeah.
Because you are here today,
Yeah.
and you are the ones that we expect to outlive the rest of us. So for me, it's really common sense. You must have the young people if you are to secure both the present and the future. So that is my general motivation. Yeah.
And then if I look, and also the other face of Kim as a Pan-Africanist. Pan-Africanists who believe in the African liberation. Pan-Africanists who believe also in gender equality, in resourcing grassroots movement.
Yes.
Why that?
So Pan-Africanism is something that is in my heart, is in my DNA. Africa, unfortunately, over the years, has been seen as the sick person of the world in terms of poverty levels and even in terms of where it is placed. And that is an unfair situation, especially considering that Africa is home to a lot of resources.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about those resources, we are talking about human resources. I mean, we have a huge educated public in Africa.
Yeah.
That's the first one. We also have the natural resources that are there, and just the raw ambition that's there in Africa. So we have all the ingredients that we need to be able to have the dignity, Africa's dignity lifted to where it is supposed to be. So for me, what frustrates me is this power imbalance, which has to be then challenged. But it can only be challenged through, first of all, acknowledging that there is a problem here, right? And then, because if you are to solve anything, you always start by identifying the problem. And the problem here is the traditional marginalization of Africa.
Yeah.
Then you ask yourself, what action then can you take? The first conversion must of necessity be at personal level. So that's why for me, as an individual, whatever I'm doing, working for the embassy or not working for the embassy, there is one identity that I shall always wear, and that is as a Pan-Africanist. So where I am working is really immaterial. It's really a very personal thing. Then the third thing is you can't achieve change alone. Is that you have to associate with people like you because you also are a Pan-Africanist yourself. That is the case. It's so clear, perhaps even much more than I am these days. And then form a coalition of people that you can be able to take some action. The fourth thing is acknowledge that you can't possibly do everything.
Yeah.
So you also have to be kind to yourself,
Yeah.
where you are realistic in terms of what is achievable, and accept that you'll get from point A to point B. Other people will move us to point C, so long as we are making positive progress, right? As long as we are making positive progress. And the final thing is that the world is changing.
Yes.
The world is changing. If you look at the demographic map, you look at the global north, it is what we call top-heavy. So the aging population is much more than the youthful population, because back here in the global south, it's bottom-heavy, right?
Yeah.
So you also have that demographic reality, where if you look at the world of the future, majority of the people will come from the global south, and Africa is a critical part of the global south.
Yeah.
So indeed, for us to be able to prepare for that leadership, because numbers are always very, very important,
Exactly.
right? So it is, I would even go further to dare say that it is irresponsible not to be a Pan-Africanist. That's how I would put it.
And like the other people say, we are the global majority, not even the global south, the global majority.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to switch it, because also you have a youthful energy, arts, passion, and stuff. Huh? I want now to throw the ball to you. You also asked me a question based on my experience on YSB. But before that, I would want you to tell the viewers, the public, and even the global world about our engagement with the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and why you made it intentional to invest for most of us to go to study in Denmark.
All right.
And then now you can ask questions to me.
Good.
Yeah.
Let me start with the question of the Sustainable Development Goals. They're supposed to expire in 2030.
Yes.
And they are critical. And if you look at what was before the SDGs, we had the Millennium Development Goals, the MDGs. The challenge with the MDGs is that they were focused only on the global south.
Yes.
The philosophy behind the MDGs was that all the problems were in the global south, which of course is not the case. So the SDGs, which by the way, Kenya played a very important role in, because Kenya was co-chair of the working group that had been put together by the United Nations to come up with the SDGs. The SDGs are global. You know, the 17 of them have various targets. So it's very, very broad and all-encompassing. Now, why the focus on the SDG vis-a-vis the Youth Sounding Board? As I've already mentioned, it is you, the young people, that must take the greatest interest in the present and the future. If you look at sustainable development goals, emphasis on the word sustainable. When you talk about sustainability, what do you mean? We are talking about caring about our decisions today because they'll affect tomorrow. And that's the philosophy of the SDGs. It's being responsible for whatever we do today so that we can secure the future. And who are the future? It is you, young people, who are indeed the future. So for us, the logic is quite clear. And that's why, in conjunction with the Danida Fellowship Center and an organization called 2030 Beyond, a do tank called 2030 Beyond, and the embassy, then we discussed and then felt that why don't we then design something specifically for the Youth Sounding Board to be taken through the Sustainable Development Goals. And as you know, Rachel, and you've been part of that particular course, is that there's an action plan that you have to come up with, right? There's an action plan which is fairly elaborate. And for us, it demonstrates two things. Number one is that we trust the young people, that number one, they will do the course, they will enjoy it, and all the reports you've received is that you have enjoyed them. And number two, when you come back, you shall have the responsibility to come and implement your action plan. And the embassy is always available to work with you from that perspective. This action plan is something that is designed to be of use to the country. You know, so you align them with countries, with Kenya's systems, with other initiatives that are taking place to ensure that now we can also say now as an embassy, we are also making a contribution to Kenya's overall developmental process. And then we can give credit to the work that you guys are doing at the Youth Sounding Board. So it's a very good partnership, very good partnership that we have. And I am convinced that it shall continue. And as you know, Rachel, you didn't go alone from Kenya.
Went,
There was from other countries, isn't it?
Yeah, and also from other countries that we have managed also to build the relationships.
What was your experience? How do you talk about your experience?
Did
you enjoy it?
Yeah,
How
for
was
me,
it?
I really enjoyed it. And you remember even when you and the embassy reached out for us to apply, the first compliment was like, people assume even most of us who have been visible, including me in the space, that we have done these courses. Or we get this opportunity, which is not the case. So the fact that the embassy trusted me and others to be able to be invested to study, for me, was a plus. In terms of skills, most of us, will do activism based on lived experience. However, maybe we lack that skill of knowing how technical work is done. And for me, seeing that we're able to go and work with other countries, because I remember our team had South Africa, we had the EAC, Youth Ambassador, East African Youth Ambassadors, we had South African team, we had Mali, and then which other country? I think like...
You had a number of countries.
And yeah,
I
like we're like 5 countries.
I joined you, didn't I?
Yeah, we had like 5 countries.
Yes, exactly.
And the fact that I think we were the first lot of the YSB to join, because you had a team of the other SDGs ambassador. We said this was a good opportunity for us to be able to engage even with the Danish youth, to know what are the gaps among us, but in terms of understanding that as much as we talk about sustainable development goals, you can't talk without the youth factor and the face factor.
Yes.
And I think for most interesting part on my end was around knowing on how to have a multi-engagement stakeholders, which has also been instrumental in my life. Before the YSB, you know from experience, I was not patient with these diplomatic processes and everything. But I've realized also through that, I gained another skills on how to understand politics being done and policy work in different level. And if you're drafting a policy, what are the things you need to look? If also you're engaging stakeholders, the things you need to look. If also the way you're saying, knowing the priority strategy of a country, but also my role that one, even if I'm not a Danish citizen, but the fact I'm in the YSB and engaging with different people in the embassy is seeing what expertise I'm bringing on board to support all these 2 countries and the continent, because beyond being in the Kenyan, I'm also in the global one, bringing the voice of the global majority to even the global board. And what also for me was striking was your support system. And also Ole at that time, and now also the current Ambassador Stefan, that you trusted most of us, that we can deliver this task. And trusting us to the level that also we engage with other Danish politicians. And knowing, even my engagement with Danish industry was a good experience.
And didn't you meet, when you talk about politicians,
Yeah.
You met the Prime Minister?
Yeah, I met the Prime Minister.
Right.
I met even the Minister himself.
Yes.
It was a good, because I'm like here in Kenya, getting even a CS to meet is a trouble.
Yes.
But the fact that there, it was easy, accessible, them listening, asking questions, challenging, and learning, for me, it was really fruitful. And I think the reason why I'm so into also the solidarity with Palestine is because we had a team from Palestine.
Yes, I remember. I remember. There were 2 representatives from Palestine.
There were like 4.
There were 4, yeah?
There were 4.
Yes.
And getting to see, for me, in terms of solidarity, human dignity, and human rights, when their country used to be bombed, we used to say, we request the teachers, please, let's stop a bit, we stand with them. And that's when we were able to get into their shoes and understand the things they were going through, which, if you have not been in a country where there is war or genocide, which also I stand in solidarity with them, you can't understand. But being with them in the same class, hearing their struggle, but seeing also their resilience in pushing was a very good one. Danish weather that time was really a good weather. Going to Flakenmood was a good experience.
Yes, that's the people's meeting.
Yes, people's meeting, PDF, The night party, we are youth with like in arena. It was amazing. And also co-creation of events. So for me, it was a good experience.
That's good.
It's something I love to do, encourage more people to go. It's a good exchange and also eye-opening.
And I guess for the people's meeting that you've spoken about, you know that it's the one that inspired Kenya's People Dialogue Festival. And that's also another reason why, in the design of the course, then you also expected to go to Bornholm and interact. And then when you come back, then you're supposed to transfer part of the knowledge and skills and experiences from that festival to Kenya's People Dialogue Festival. And I know you guys have done a good job at the PDF, isn't it?
Yeah, we did that. And I think we're the first Youth Sounding Board in Kenya, the Denmark one, to have a side event at the PDF here in Kenya. The People's Dialogue Festival, hosted by CMD and the Embassy and other partners. And this also was very instrumental, because now after joining the YSB for Denmark is when I got also the opportunity to joining the Netherlands one to support also the team, and then also advising the UN one on also how to involve. And you could see even when we were doing our YSB tent at the PDF, the other board had to come to our tent. We had to invite them, and also which comes to the power of collaborative partnership. At the same time, also youth power, innovation. And it's something that I can say of my reflection is that also being a Pan-African, a feminist, and an activist, Africa, we are not scarce of resource. we are not scarce of human resource. We are not scarce of ideas. We are not scarce of potential.
Absolutely.
Because if you can see Kim, the way we have advised even the embassy,
Yeah.
even from the level of having even Minister of Development Cooperation coming to Mathare during floods and the ambassador and the team, to them taking our issues to the level that maybe I can't reach, it means we are full of ideas. Oh, yeah. It means we are full of potential. However, our governance system is what is letting us down. The corruption is what is letting us down. The lack of intersectionality. We're also, like I would say, not seeing the value in us as youth is what is letting us down. However, we are not giving up. And that's why we are seeing the power of being in the boards of the embassy instrumental, because there are levels, let's say, Balozi Stefan can go, I can't go.
Yes.
We have seen also in terms of what we have, even with femicide cases, on how the embassy has been instrumental linking us with the UN, other stakeholders, ensuring that we are able to stop killing of women or any form of human rights violation. Yeah.
And we are glad to be associated with you, you know, as Mwikali and your colleagues at the Youth Sounding Board. And you know, one of the things that we are proud of, even in supporting the People Dialogue Festival, is the work that you do. And you know, when you started it off, now every year since that time, there's always some activities, you know, that the Youth Sounding Board does there. I remember for this year, we had a delegation from Denmark, right? So they came in and also joined in. And those are also other new members that also came in. So that's also a good thing that also makes us convinced that it is something that we can continue doing. You know, and we are determined to keep on improving the Youth Sounding Board based on the advice that you give us. For information, by the way, now there is also the European Union Youth Sounding Board that equally has also been learning from the Danish Youth Sounding Board. And that's what we want to see. You know, we want to see that kind of interaction, not just amongst youth sounding boards, but also with other young people. You know, and we rely on you to come to us and say, could you consider perhaps setting up this meeting, this engagement with this group of young people? And you have done that in the past. I know we have had some interactions with that. It's something that we can deepen. Now, to the point that you mentioned about the challenges that are there in the country, and that's perfectly understandable, and you're right. There are certain challenges that are widely acknowledged. You know, they're not controversial in the sense that you will not have people saying that there's no corruption. Right? All of us agree that much more can be done to improve the human rights situation in the country. But those things can only be done when people show up, isn't it? When people show up and say, there is this challenge, we must then play our part in addressing that particular challenge. And so that's why we are very proud of the diversity that we have in the Youth Sounding Board. People like you who are in the front line, whenever there are challenges with human rights, and we are always very proud to say, oh, that's our Rachel, you know, who is in the front line. You know, and that will not change. So the important thing to remember here is this, is that, you know, you come as you are to the Youth Sounding Board. Our task is not to convert you to be something else. You come with your own authenticity. That is something that you must maintain. Our task is just to actually harness, you know, your talents, and much more importantly, based on the things that you do, what advice do you have for us? So, and so far, so good. We are really proud to be associated with you.
Thank you. So now, let me ask you a question. As an embassy and as Kim, I know we have so many success as the YSP. From being the first, if you ask me, if I want to brag about it, the first YSP to be very intentional and vocal in the country when it comes also to other partners. What is like 3 things that you're proud? Because I know how you work hard about asking. If there's one person who does not give up about us, it's you. Even if there's change in the leadership of the embassy, because also there's that change. What is these things that you're really proud that you would say have contributed, or YSB, they have made us proud as YSB?
Right. The first thing is the advice that you give us. That's very important. You know, as a program manager at the embassy, part of my job is to reflect and also work with our partners to ensure that Denmark's priorities in Kenya are implemented in Kenya. And by the way, it's important for me to add that Denmark's priorities in Kenya are aligned with Kenya's own priorities. So
Maybe
there's
could
usually...
you tell the viewers
Yes, what
Denmark
priorities those are.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have a very strong focus on democracy, human rights, civic engagement. That's an important one, and anti-corruption. So perhaps that can be put under the broad umbrella of good governance, democratization, and human rights. That's one umbrella. Then we also have a very strong focus on climate action. You know, I suspect you agree that climate change is an existential threat to the world.
Yeah.
If
and
you
also
don't
a governance
address
issue.
precisely,
Yeah.
if you don't address that, then there's a big issue. So there's a strong focus on that for us. And then we also have a strong focus on peace, security, and stabilization. You cannot operate if there's no peace.
True.
So we are also very alive to that particular fact. We also work with refugees. There is some programming that we have around refugees and host populations. It's also work that we do. There's work that we do on agricultural value additions. And then here, the embassy here is quite broad in its outreach. We have a trade council, which promotes Danish business interest in Kenya. And we also have some defense collaboration between Denmark and Kenya. So actually here, the embassy in Nairobi has the broadest roles. So there's a lot that happens here at the embassy. And I've seen, whenever you come to the embassy, there are so many people running around.
Exactly.
We've actually even been increasing. There are many more. The time we met, it was 2020.
During COVID.
Yes. 2020. 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now the number has doubled.
Wow.
Has more than doubled at the embassy.
Congratulations.
Yeah. It just shows that the mandate is broadening, and Denmark's footprint will continue here. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
You are able to advise us so that we are able to have programming that is relevant to you as Kenyan youth. So we are very proud of that. The second thing, and before I depart that particular point, you also participated in advising on Denmark's strategy for Africa.
Yes, yeah.
What is called Africa's Century.
Yeah.
And your views were very, very important in crafting that. No wonder, then the final product, we were not surprised when the final product clearly acknowledged young people. It even spoke about youthquake.
Yeah.
There is a phrase there that's prominent in that strategy, youthquake. And even the very titling of that strategy, Africa's Century. You can't talk about a century without thinking about the people who shall be there in that particular century, which is you, the young people.
Yeah.
So in a sense, you can say that you even inspired the thinking, the forward thinking of that particular strategy.
Yeah.
So the second one is what I've spent a bit of time talking about, is that you are able to enhance visibility of Denmark in various spaces. Because when you go to the People Dialogue Festival and you are branded as the Danish Embassy Youth Sounding Board, that is good. Because part of what an embassy does is that it engages in public diplomacy. And public diplomacy is best when you have the local people, the local population, actually promoting that particular brand. So that's something that we're very proud about being associated with you. And on still the public diplomacy, and Rachel, you've also represented the embassy in a number of forums.
Yes, true.
Where you go and you introduce yourself as a member of the Youth Sounding Board.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. So we are very proud that you are able then to accentuate, you are able to promote brand Denmark.
Yeah.
And then the third thing that I can say I'm very proud to be associated with you is just, the idea that it is actually possible for young people, different backgrounds, people who have not met before, to come together and confirm that young people are interested in the same things. So for me, that observation is important. That observation. Number two, that you are also willing to put aside some of your own, perhaps very, very strong views on certain things and are able to accommodate each other towards a certain objective with a view of solving a particular problem. So you guys are succeeding in doing that, because I know, especially when you're developing your action plans, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of give and take,
and
right?
used to call you Kimani.
Yes.
These people are not listening.
Exactly. But at the end of the day,
people, they're not listening.
yes,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, you come up with something, a consensus.
Yeah.
So for me, seeing that happening, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So those three things, I could go on and on about other things, but you asked me for three.
Yeah.
I have given you three.
Yeah.
Yes.
So would you mind asking me, what other question would you mind asking me?
No, for you now, sitting now at the Global Youth Sounding Board, and looking at the world that is there right now, looking at the shifting geopolitical matters and other things that are going on in the world, because the world is changing.
Yes.
The world is changing in many ways.
Yeah.
Assuming I'm the minister right now, and there are three things that you would want him to address. What would those three things be?
Interesting one, Kimani.
Yeah.
And a tough one.
And I'm not usurping the minister's role.
No, I'm also like sitting. I've been asking people that question.
Yes.
I think one is to strengthen the country-to-country solidarity.
Okay.
And when I say this with the geopolitics, now a lot of democracy questions are under siege or under siege. It's seeing on now this demographic of youth. It's a very big demographic that is instrumental to both Denmark, Kenya, or Africa as a general. So you can't ignore. You have to invest on it fully.
Okay.
And when I mean investment, it's not only just money, it's also time.
Okay.
Invest, like the way we tell you, Kimani, you want this, you always, Kimani, come, do this. You don't see you are the boss or you are the donor or you're you always say, okay, tell me what you guys you want. You always listen. And when you listen, you're able to practice. So listening will be a very important investment, but also doing the action. So if you are the minister now, I'm advising you to listen and do action intentionally and authentically.
All right.
The other points that I'll bring in terms of sustainable development goal, there's so much work that needs to be done.
Yes.
Understand the context as a minister. And we are seeing countries cutting funding. I'll not encourage Denmark to cut funding. I'll encourage Denmark to maintain the money that it has been giving to human rights, to democracy, to gender equality, to SRHR. The investment, we know Denmark from long time investing a lot of work. Even if there's change of government, even if we are seeing people shifting to trade, military and stuff, I'd encourage you as the Minister of Development Cooperation to maintain investing the money.
On that particular point,
On
that particular point, what I can tell you is that Denmark is committed to maintaining its commitments in terms of development cooperation.
Nice.
Because
amazing.
as per the global agreement is that the Western countries are supposed to provide 0.7% of their gross national income. So Denmark has been doing that, and there is a strong commitment that that will continue. In fact, Denmark has been actively encouraging other countries in Europe to get to 0.7. So Denmark, from that perspective, is actually
on top.
Absolutely. So there's no issue. But your advice is well taken in terms of
also
ensuring that it remains so. Yes.
Because also it takes me now back to whatever we have been telling you in Denmark, you're implementing.
Yes.
So I can see that as part of success. That the YSB, the advice, the engagement, the meetings, it has maintained that. Because I remember the last meeting we were with the ministers and the member of parliament that they were brought here. And you gave us the opportunity of meeting with us as the embassy. And we told them, please ensure this money is not cut because the rest are cutting. And you affirming that it has been maintained for me, I feel relieved. And that's also like what I'll advise Denmark to continue doing. Offering those spaces, offering ways of resourcing. However, my other advice, and I know also I've spoken with you in the embassy, is reducing the restriction around funding. Why am I saying this? A lot of intermediary in resourcing youth initiative, there are very strict conditions that does not apply to the constituency of youth who we are majority. So in order for us to be able, in the localization agenda, to be part of equal partner in the space, the restriction needs to be seen on how it can be. I know like it's taxpayers' money, which you need to respect, but see in terms of how do you become flexible to encourage more youth to apply for the same money, not to have the same status quo even in the civil society.
This is a good question.
Yeah.
And actually, it's coming at the right time.
Yeah.
Because for Denmark here in Kenya, we shall soon be embarking on a planning process for Denmark's next strategy here in Kenya. And there will be that opportunity then to reflect on all those questions in terms of what you've spoken about, you know, in terms of ensuring that there are more partnerships with young people. If there are barriers that exist for all manner of groups to be able to interact with us and potentially get some support, then we eliminate those barriers. So it's a very, very, very timely thing that you've said. And just to assure you that, you know, one of the principles of Danish development cooperation is flexibility, inclusion, and listening. Because there is no way that Danish assistance in Kenya is going to be effective. It can't be effective if it is not alive to how things are on the ground here in Kenya. And how are things on the ground? How will you know? You have to listen to the people.
Exactly.
So I'm very glad that you know, you are confirming that you are willing to be there to advise us. So when now we start that process of consultation for the next country program, I am sure you shall be there. Right?
And
we shall invite you and other young people.
Anytime, you know. My last point should be around even how you make this bilateral or multilateral agreements. Ensure, as a minister, you have the human rights line that as much as we are signing, whether it's on trade and something, as a country, as Kenya, we must respect human rights. We must respect non-discrimination, equality, and you know why I'm saying this is also with the rising of human rights abductions, killing in the country. We have seen some bit of results in terms of not discriminating people. So these are the things that I'll expect you as the minister to engage with governments that respect human rights based on United Nations Human Rights Declaration.
That is true. The reality is that you don't get to choose the person on the other side. In diplomacy, is that you work with everybody, right? So what you do is you have clarity on your own values, first of all, and you have an acknowledgement of the person on the other side. Who are they? What are they about? And the hope is that by interacting with them, by having programs with them, is that you continuously improve each other. You know, because Denmark is not perfect, no country is. So diplomacy, that's the beauty of diplomacy, is that you engage, you discuss, you know, and you keep on improving. And I can tell you, and you know this, that human rights is at the core of Danish development assistance. It is there. And any country that interacts with Denmark, that is clear. So that is not going to change. That's not going to change. And I can also tell you that, you know, diplomacy is also done in many ways. There is the overt, very open and public diplomacy, but then a lot of work happens behind the scenes, where there are all these discussions. Now for Kenya, it is much easier to have discussions on human rights. And I'll tell you why, for two reasons. Number one, the excesses that you've talked about have been widely publicized. So nobody can deny that this is not happening, right? This is happening. It's been open, and thanks to the media, the free media that is there, thanks to activists, courageous activists like yourself, all those things have been very clear, haven't they? Number two, Kenya currently is a member of the UN Human Rights Council. And recalling the commitments that Kenya made when it was applying to be a member of the UN Human Rights Council, Kenya committed itself to defend and uphold human rights. That's why I'm saying it's easy to have a discussion with Kenya, because there is a basis which Kenya, as a sovereign state, stated to the world and said, the reason why we want to join the UN Human Rights Council is because we want to promote human rights. So it becomes easy then to have a discussion in terms of, okay, what's the progress so far that is going on? And then number three, we know that Kenyans are not going to allow, Kenyans themselves are not going to allow the flagrant violation of human rights. People are pushing back, you know, and saying, no, this is not how things are supposed to be done. All right? So again, the human rights question is one that cannot disappear, actually. It cannot disappear. Human rights is part of Danish DNA in Kenya and across the world.
You hosted the Human Rights Awards which also we worked together. And I know Denmark is very serious on also protecting human rights defender. Where do you see the future of investment on women human rights defender or human rights defenders in the country?
We are currently the co-chairs of the Human Rights Defenders Working Group. We are privileged to co-chair with the Defenders Coalition, which is a foremost local organization that does a lot of good work defending human rights, right? They are our good friends. We have done that for the last 2 years and a few months. And part of that job is hosting the annual Human Rights Defenders Awards. We have done that now for 2 years. And Rachel, you are the chair of the jury. Congratulations for that.
Asante.
And I know your work is not easy.
It's not.
Because you have so many worthy, winners, right? Everybody's a winner. But because you have to identify, the top 2, 3, 4, I know it's a tough job, which you have done very, very, very well.
Thank you.
So for us, it's actually a privilege that we are able to host that. Because in a way, if I'm to use a movie lingo, the Human Rights Defenders Awards are the Oscars, of human rights defenders. It's that one day where human rights defenders from across Kenya are able to come and celebrate each other. So being part of that is something that we are really proud of, and I know that is the same feeling is shared by other diplomatic missions that have also hosted it in the past.
Even for the jury, if I speak on behalf of the jury, we are so proud of that. And having in mind also, remember when we had discussion on how Denmark also with the history has been supportive even to supporting human rights defenders in the past and currently. And also like ensuring that, I remember even with my experience, when we had issues with the government last year, when government tried to accuse us that we were funding protests in Kenya, which it was wrong idea. Yes, we participated, which if it's being guilty about participating, as we are okay. But the fact that I could see even the embassy saying we're in solidarity with you, Rachel, and your organization or the organization you're part of or movement, this was so inspiring to encourage me and others that who stand for the human rights, democracy, that whatever we are doing is right and is not wrong. So that's something that I commend you, the embassy and the ambassador, to continue doing that.
As I said, human rights is part of our DNA. And, we really admire the courage that you have. It's not easy. Human rights defense is not easy. But it is necessary. It must be done. If human rights collapse, everything else collapses. Because we say that development, and in this case, sustainable development, and human rights are interchangeable, are interdependent, interdependent is the word, and mutually reinforcing. You cannot separate the two. You can't. So if you do not observe human rights, you are not going to have any sustainable development anywhere.
I agree.
So it's common sense, really, that you have to ensure that you have a human rights
situation. Even business will not thrive if there's no human rights.
And maybe the ambition now should be to have a human rights state. So that as you define your country, you are saying we are a human rights state. So that you're now moving deliberately, ticking all the boxes on human rights and saying that we are observant of human rights. Once you get to that level, I am sure the development then also will match the high observance of human rights. And that is something that we also share in terms of wanting human rights to be observed so that socio-economic development can also move forward.
Yes. And that's automatic. So Kim, what do you do for fun?
It's an interesting question. Whenever I have a bit of time.
Apart from teaching, reading, concept, approval, what do you do for fun? Apart from also going to church, what do you do for fun?
Well, I like doing a lot of walking. I like doing that. I like doing that. It helps me to clear my mind, interact with nature, right? I also like reading a good book, and watching a good movie. Within those three things, and also I like interacting with people, just having discussions on what's happening. So those 4 things, which I think are fairly easy things to do. Yes.
Continue doing that. We need you, healthy person. We have a long way to go.
Oh yes. Yes.
We have a long way ahead of us.
Yes. But keep up the good job. Thanks for inviting me to this podcast today.
I don't want you to finish because I want you to tell people, especially the youth, you're a donor, you're a funder. What are the things or strategy when young people want to look for resources that they should keep in mind
Okay.
in terms of institutional development or movement development
All right.
that you would advise them?
The first thing is being authentic. In this age of artificial intelligence, I know it's very, very, very tempting to throw in a few words and say, develop for me this proposal. You lose your authenticity. You're already good enough because whatever you present should be from your lived experience. You don't need ChatGPT to describe your own lived experience. Describe it in your own way. You know, your lived experience, the authenticity.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing. Packaging can always be done,
Yeah.
right? Packaging can always be done to fit it within a particular format. The other thing is to continue acknowledging each other in your diversity. Because youth is not a uniform demographic.
Yes.
You know, youth are diverse. They are diverse. So if you want to succeed, then you must also be willing to listen to another young person who is not like you. So if you are urban-based youth, listen to the rural-based youth.
Yeah.
If you are an older youth, because in Kenya we have 18 to 35, if you're, let's say, 34, listen to the 18-year-old, right? So that becomes very, very, very important because you are not going to succeed. If now within the youth bracket, you have those divisions, you must deliberately strive to say that you are one entity that are made stronger by your diversity.
Yeah.
Once you do all those things, then you should be able to be very, very attractive. In fact, it is people that will come to you, will be attracted to that, by that energy, by that clarity of purpose, and then you find convergence of interest. And then you're able to move forward. Exactly.
Thank you, Kim. Such
Welcome.
an honor to always listening to you.
Karibu sana. Thank
Your
you so much.
wisdom, your support system.
Thank you.
Africa, we are proud, or Kenya, we are proud to have you. As a friend, as a partner, as a son. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm equally proud to be your friend, you know, and a friend is somebody that is very, very important.
Yeah.
And keep up the good job. You can count on my own personal support and definitely the support of the Embassy of Denmark in Kenya.
Thank you so much, Kimani.
Thank you.